Ladies and gentlemen, this is huge news. Matt Gaetz, speaking to Charlie Kirk, has stated that 1,400 hours of hidden audio tape will be released regarding a 2 year long investigation into Trump. Now, this investigation produced no indictment or criminal charges of Trump. The Georgia probe, the Georgia investigation did not produce an indictment of Trump. Trump Russia did not produce any criminal conviction of Donald Trump. And so you have a situation where every single investigation of Trump, from the Mueller probe to the New York prosecutors sending an elderly man to about 4 or 5 months in jail because Trump paid for his grandchildren's tuition, private school tuition. This is what they got Trump for. Okay. They couldn't find any criminal act. They could not find a crime with Trump. The judicial system, the courts, the bedrock of our republic and democracy and country could not find that Trump committed any felonies, that he did anything wrong that you could prove in a court of law. This was called public relations. What they did 2 years ago, a terrible, terrible day that I condemn in January, what they did was they tried to make that worse than Pearl Harbor. Nobody believed that it was worse than Pearl Harbor. Or, in 2001, I have to focus on the algorithm, but the worst day in American history in September. Nobody in their right minds believes that that day has any correlation, could be correlated in any way, shape, or form to the Battle of Antietam or Pearl Harbor or September of 20 years ago. Okay, 21 years ago. So, what Democrats tried to do is extract every ounce of public relations and political utility from these catastrophes, which is what they do all the time. Media is a willing participant in all of this. Okay, and the people who lost their lives that day in January, which a day that should never have taken place, okay, the majority of whom were supporters of Trump. Okay, and you have to ask yourself, why didn't they find any evidence to charge or indict Trump or prosecute him and convict him in a court of law? Because that's all they've obsessed over for 3 years, 2 years. Okay? That's because he never committed a crime. And I've been talking about that for a long time. And the information that they don't show you, the 1,400 hours of tape that will be released, that essentially is already released by Matt Gaetz and a committee in charge of investigating those who investigated Trump and Republicans. So there was a committee today just formed that Matt Gaetz and others will be a part of. McCarthy has helped form a committee in Congress to investigate those who investigated Trump. Okay, that could be possibly the same people who were kicked out of the Intel Committee and other committees. But hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen, every day at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Pacific on H.A. Goodman. And we're almost at 204,000 subs. We're going to zoom past that very soon. We will talk about this story on H.A. Goodman's other channel as well at 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. every single day. So I'll have videos here at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Pacific every single day, and then at 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. Pacific on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Become a Patreon. Your support is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. The link is below in the description and pinned comment. And also, if you want to give a super thanks, that's below. You can go also to hagoodman.com. Go there right now and become part of a newsletter. You can read my writing there on The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, and other publications. 1,400 hours of audio tape, possibly video footage, I'm not sure, but Matt Gaetz talks about that. And this is very interesting for a number of reasons. First off, the information that investigators don't show you could be exculpatory. So when you have a prosecution or corrupt judge or corrupt prosecutors or a, you know, law enforcement that is not giving information to a jury that could exonerate a defendant. Okay, in this case, there could be exculpatory information in the court of public opinion because they didn't charge or indict Trump on anything. 1,400 hours of tape. And you can look, a lot of publications now, I mean, this hasn't been, I might be the first person to talk about this on YouTube, but there are other publications and there are reporters and journalists on Twitter. Republicans will release 1,400 hours of tapes that have been hidden. Why have they been hidden? Because they might point the finger in terms of a lot of these investigations against Trump. They might point the finger at Democrats. They might go ahead and they might show that investigating Trump was a flawed, corrupt process. Because whereas he made mistakes, whereas you could say that he didn't care about optics, he didn't commit crimes. And again, you have a situation where media, CNN had an anchor or a journalist in front of a building set ablaze, in flames behind him. It became a meme, and he kept saying fiery but mostly peaceful. When you had curfews every single night throughout the country, media, Democrats, you did, and then the same thing happened with the Dobbs decision. You had churches torched and buildings destroyed, and you had Brett Kavanaugh almost lost his life. And then they say, well, in terms of this study, all the chaos and mayhem comes from the right. But those studies never include the $1 to $2 billion more so. That's just insured property damage throughout the country. Hundreds and hundreds of buildings throughout the country, either completely demolished or torched. Police headquarters. You had government buildings being targeted by those who are not peaceful. And I am 100% for the cause and why people demonstrated. I do believe it was a noble cause. I don't believe that 14,000 arrests, according to Wikipedia, the 19 lives lost should have been lost. And 14,000 arrests, along with billions in property damage, is not noble. It's the antithesis of justice. That's an injustice. How many people lost their businesses? And how many people had to call insurance companies? Because Democrats and media and people who were associated with groups, all different types of groups, not one in particular, perhaps engaged in criminal activity where they were given a free pass, but that one day was focused on as an example of the end of the world. And that's wrong. And I agree with why people were demonstrating. I always say that. But when you have a society that ignores an entire summer of curfews in every major city and law enforcement officials throughout the country being injured and confronting people who were not peaceful, 14,000 arrests, and you have the current vice president actually working to bail people out. Nobody trusts media because they see the double standard. It's called hypocrisy. It's not whataboutism. See, whataboutism is a euphemism for hypocrisy. Okay? And so when you're leaving out information, if I said to you, hey, I saw Bob with another woman at the movies, and that goes around, Bob gets divorced, and the truth is that, well, Bob was with his mother at the movies, his 80-year-old mother. He wasn't with a mistress, he was with his mother. You see how gossip can ruin people's lives? Well, that's politics in this day and age. And so you have a situation where this is just the beginning of, I mean, Matt Gaetz is making a huge name for himself. He has people supporting him throughout this country and throughout this world. I think that he's surpassed DeSantis. In my mind, DeSantis is fantastic, but he surpassed DeSantis. I mean, Trump is still obviously. I'm voting for Trump in 24. I want a better. I want a great economy. We had a great economy with Trump. Real wages were up. Real wages are down. While corporate profits are at all-time highs, and we had a recession. So you tell me how that's possible. We are heading towards a terrible financial climate in this year, and we're heading towards another recession. And I said I predicted that and told you in 2021, crypto will get below Bitcoin will get below $10,000. Okay, cryptocurrencies will get below. I mean, Bitcoin will get below $10,000. I think Binance, Coinbase, and Tether will all go under. Unfortunately. But anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Be here in about a couple of hours. I'll have another segment. And ladies and gentlemen, every single day, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. on this channel, be here. Definitely. And I was gonna have a live stream. I might tonight. I'm not sure. I might have an upload, but share this everywhere. If you're from my 11-minute crowd, share this everywhere. It's very important. It's huge. Thank you.